I had previously made the comment that I was getting some inconsistent results with some map entities and didn't know too much about it then. I found out a few other things since then. I wanted to share those.
Where to?
Where to? Society of Leopold. And the first entity to look at, so there's our autosave, and now I'll make a quick save. And the first entity to look at is interesting place conversation. And what's well known about this is it only plays part of the file, but we're not interested in that part. The part we're interested in is when we get close, it triggers this on player too close, and it stops their conversation. But then they're supposed to go on patrol, but they don't go on patrol. So that's the first thing, and so we load the autosave, and we try it again.
Greetings, Commander. Greetings, soldier. Anything to report?
So it fires their conversation, and it fires on player too close, and it also triggers their patrol. So in the case of loading on a transition, the last part of it about them going on patrol didn't work, and in the loading from an autosave, everything worked just fine, as expected. And now we load from the quick save, and this is the devastating case, although it might not be so obvious. But what happens is the function fails completely. It doesn't trigger the conversation, and you can't tell, but it doesn't trigger on player too close. And so what that means is you can't use this function at all, ever. You can't put anything inside this interesting place conversation. Well, you can if you only care about it working part of the time. But and the on player too close function only exists inside interesting place conversation, so that can never be used. Anyway, it's probably not devastating. You know, you can work around all of this by creating a bunch of Python code. So we'll switch over and look at that, although there's really nothing to see, but we'll do it anyway. All right, here we are in the back in the Society of Leopold map, and I've already loaded in and made the quick save, so I'll just load the quick save. And the original was in official version 1.2. This is the same, official 1.2.
Greetings, Commander. Greetings, soldier.
And like I said, nothing too excited. I just wanted to show that if you want those things to work, you can do it with some Python code. And the next place I'd like to go look at is in the temple, and to look at some function brush stuff. So I'll be there. So here we are in Temple 1, ready to go into Temple 2. And we get our autosave, and we'll make our quick save. It's the same procedure as we did for Leopold. Well, not exactly the same, but we'll get to that. And we'll get to this bar here also in a bit. believe this is trap 6, but what it is, behind these bamboo traps, there's these 2 function brushes, trap stoppers, and they prevent these from ever being pushed back. The player is never supposed to be able to get through here. Where if we go, I believe those are the only 2 that exist, at least on this level. These, easily push back. So, and now we do the same thing. We don't need to load the autosave because I don't think there's any difference there. So we'll just go right to the quick save. What happens in this case is those trap stoppers no longer function, and in the Ming Xiao temple fight you have the same type of situation, except there it's a function rotating brush. But what happens is if you transition in and do it all in one shot, the key floats and spins in the air, but if you transition in and then have to load from a player save, the key falls to the ground because the brush is no longer solid. I don't know what the root cause of that is, and I actually had a thought earlier, but I didn't have time to test it. But my thought is, I wonder if these have proper textures on them. If they don't have proper textures, maybe if a proper texture was applied to these brushes, they would work like all of these other brushes that have textures. And actually, I'm not even sure. I never even checked out if they do or don't have textures. But anyway, it's just something to be aware of. And I don't know how widespread it is or how many of the types of brushes it affects or why. And as promised, we're going to look at this bar, which is pretty famous for causing problems. And this is by far the most crazy one. But what happens is the bar is working fine, but if you ever crouch and make a save and you load that save, the bar is solid, can't be moved. But then, of course, all you have to do to fix it again and make it movable is make another save where you aren't crouched. Load that save. Voila, the bar's pushable again. And so anyway, those are some of the things I have discovered. I believe there's other things, but I don't have a lot of information on them. Actually, I have almost zero information on them. One of them would be that the Bach fight seems to be also suffer from this same kind of thing, where if you transition in, everything seems to work fine, but if you load from a player save, Bach's seems to work differently than he does if you transition in. I think what happens is some of his visual things, like that glow thing he has, doesn't work. And the other thing that I found was the morgue function can't really be trusted, I guess, because actually I found that in every game that I have, at some point Larry becomes dead, and also there's a bunch of NPCs that never show up in the morgue. So I'm not sure what the story there is either. But anyway, if you're modding or fixing, these are some of the things that you might want to be aware of for your testing. And so hopefully that was helpful. And thanks for watching.